I came to the industry with the experience of being a manager of a band. I promoted a hip-hop band into a deal with record companies and sending them on tour through Europe and trying to sell their kind of bad product. And then I met, through that drum machine producer, the Berlin techno scene, and they were so enthusiastic in making music with not even knowing about a tone or a 12-tone scale or whatever, all these instruments. They didn't know nothing about it, they just wanted to make music, and they used these drum machines and was fascinated and had a hell out of energy. And I took this energy of these people in the end somehow into the trade shows and meetings of the industry, where everybody was standing there, hey, what is going on here? And Schneider was making stands where that was always crowded, loud, and upset and full of motivation, and everybody else was standing there like, hey, you like a synthesizer, whatever. That was my success. And we didn't even have any modular in the portfolio, nothing. There was just this Döpfer guy running around with his systems, but they was running around with white coats, and we didn't really understand that because we was on the desktop movie. You know, we had a drum machine and a synth and another synth and a ring modulator and things, and that was had to be put together on the table, and then you could make music with that. No keyboards, no guitars, no drums, just electronic. And this was leading me into becoming a special candy shop like nowadays for electronic musical instruments. Wet waste. The industry, or those people that I met in Frankfurt, was first of all shy, and then later on amused, and then even later on respecting what I did there in Frankfurt. I don't know if you remember all those stands that I had since 2002 on the Musikmesse, where we always said, joking around, we have the highest knob per square meter factor on the whole boring big Frankfurt Musikmesse, because we compressed these manufacturers to the smallest place necessary. So my booth was crowded already when it was not even opening, because I had so many exhibitors standing next to each other saying, hey, I have the sequencer, you have the synth. I said, here's the cable. Don't bring nothing to support your product, bring just your product, and here's the cable. You have the sequencer, you're standing next to a guy with a synthesizer, put the MIDI cable from here to there, put the audio in, and then you explain the sequencer, you explain the synthesizer, and that's it. My place was always crowded, and all the others were standing behind their computer screens. What was very emotional to me was understanding that Haken was working since, I don't know, 72 on the vision of taking the keyboard players out of their 12-tone scale, letting them flow free in between the tones from 88 keys down and up, saying you can play like this. You don't have to learn, you know, they have skills, and they have, I myself am a keyboard player. I learned piano and double bass, and I played a cheap synthesizer in a band, but at least I know what you are proud of if you play in a band, and then you say doodly 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 doodly, and you are forced, as a German, as a European guy, you are forced to understand everything just in the 12-tone limitation. And the first time I understood that this is not important, because it's something you have to hear, and you have to feel harmonies, and you don't have to understand them from theory. It could help, but it's also not making your life easier as a musician. So where I understood that the single tone in between this half tone and that half tone is necessary, and that you really can hear it and you need to hear it, was indeed with the X-Bass, where you have, getting back, X-Bass is the drum machine where you have to tune the bass drum. And the bass drum tune is not 12 tone. You don't need to quantize it. It's something else. You don't need to always need harmonies. And if you just reduce it to the minimal techno thing where you have a boom and a chuck and a ching-a-ling-a-ling and this is it, and this is making you dance and feel good, then you understand that the tune can be boom, 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 somewhere in between. And then I met that guy with a Haken. First of all, I didn't understand nothing. And then I understood he's offering to keyboard players who are by nature thinking in harmonies and going even further, and who can do that job that I have with my bass drum in between dum dum dum. They have it on 10 fingers at once. That this must be freedom in general to say you cannot just shrink your chords and expand it polyphonically. You can also add a third parameter to it, and you're free to do it in up and down, forward, backward, deep and high. And I thought this is the innovation. The instrument that I liked a lot, that I also used a lot, was the ribbon controller, where you just play where you have to play intuitive and listening to the tone. Again, being away from the 12-tone scale, still I like funky stuff with chords and harmony and groove. The ribbon controller from Döpfer made me at least see the keyboard possibilities combined well together with the monophonic synth again. I had a ribbon controller in my Yamaha CY30 organ and used that a lot. Perhaps it's also that one what takes me back to history. I used that organ when I was 16 playing bad music there. You don't need to have all this expensive stuff. You don't need to buy a Haken audio, and you don't need to have synthesizers of any kind and spend thousands of money. You need to find your instrument, and this could be it. You need to just make it attractive and stand up and say, I'm making music because I have an opinion and I have to say something, and I am the one who's telling something to you. Berlin is becoming more and more a boring metropolitan city where people from everywhere are popping up, and it is losing its possibility of having empty spaces offering things to cultural creative people. We need the life of the cities to get together, because we need to understand ourselves as a society. Yeah, first of all, we need to take care for what we do our own, what we do ourselves, prevent pollution, we have to change something. Something has to happen. I am currently listening. Yesterday I was sitting again in let's call it an A&R meeting with the last 2-3 slots we had for the Superbooth, and I'm listening to things that happen to me because people come in and say, hey, D Fox was giving me an album. They was playing twice on the Superbooth last year and the year before, and from their concerts inside the Superbooth, they was generating an atmosphere that is that you can hear very well from the first song on the album, that is kind of live with a synthesizer, and I like the CD a lot. That's in my car. There was another one, Super Mario, and the Lonely Robot. Forgot the name, but he also was twice introducing things on the Superbooth for companies, and then we said you can also play yourself something here because we liked it a lot. That's ambient, and his CD is also very nice. He just had a new release on Cocoon now, so he's getting more into the adult thing, and I like if people are coming from nothing going any further. We also try to have in the program people who are not well known, mixed up with others who are well known, that we force to do something else. But to be honest, privately listening to music doesn't happen anymore. I have 3 kids at home, so I hear what they hear to understand what they do and what they think, or to try to, but to be honest, I can't stand if they start the boring pop things in the car and say, hey, let's stop at this. Okay, I accept that, I listen to it, and then I stop somewhere else again, you know, with skipping the radio stations. Yeah. The concert program, because we have 30 concerts a day, and I want them, these people, to say, we're coming there, we arrive relaxed, and we don't have to care if the stand is open or not, because the people come and they see the product, they can check it out, sure, but also these people should turn off their shoes, walk the lane, see what the others do, see concerts, see creatives using their stuff on stage and understanding what the musicians are doing with the products that the producers generate from their vision in their head. My dearest thing is still the next generation's work. So we try hard to offer the knowledge we have about electronics and possibilities to those who are lower 16. And everybody who's younger than 16 is invited to the Superbooth, have free admission. This is an important information. And we invite school classes to learn modular, because that's easiest, because then you have the single components, and you can understand if the cable is in, there's a hair, and if you take it out, it's gone. This is something you don't learn at school anymore nowadays. That these people are invited to play a concert, and these concerts are always very emotional because they very often have never seen a synth before, and then they are introduced to it, and then they have a period of 3 hours to learn a bit about it and to find their sound, and then they make a gig with 12 or more kiddies playing something, and now you, come on, wow, and now you, little, and then, you know, we invite the parents and the teachers, and we could all go there. Mostly it's kind of empty, but this is something for me. If that is going and happening on the first day, I'm always standing there with a little pee-pee in my eyes and say, wow, we did it again.